Hello, thanks for joining me. I'm going to be going over how to use the Express static middleware to serve up static files. It's a big time saver, helps you work more efficiently. It saves you from having to make a route to every single file you want to serve. I'm going to try to keep this under 15 minutes, so try to keep up. Feel free to hit pause if you need to, or if I'm moving too slowly, you can always, if you're watching this on YouTube, go down to the settings and speed things up. All right, so first off, let's make a basic ExpressJS server. So to get us started, I'm going to first run git init, so that way I can upload this to Git later. And I'm going to go ahead and add a git ignore file. And I'm going to initialize a package.json file. So I'm going to npm init -y, and the -y option just accepts the default options. And now that's going to give me a package.json file. I have my git ignore set up. Let's go make sure we add node modules to that. All right, I have node modules in there. So next step is to install ExpressJS with npm install express as the command. So down in the command line, I'm going to type it out. And this command down here is going to install the ExpressJS package, which I will then use to build the server. All right, so what I would like to do is first create a server.js file with a basic Express app. And so the easiest way to get started is to go to the Express docs and go to the Hello World example and just copy and paste that in. Go back to server, paste that in, and we are all set. The other thing I'm going to do is use Nodemon, which is short for Node Monitor, and it basically, I think it's short for Node Monitor. I might have that wrong. But what Nodemon does is it's an open source package that runs Node, but it watches files you're working on for changes and automatically restarts the Node process anytime it detects changes. So it's a really nice tool when you're developing a server app or working with Node to quickly and automatically rerun your app every time you save, saving you the trouble of going over to your terminal to restart things. So just a nice little convenience. I'm going to go ahead and install that npm I, and I'm going to use the -d option because Nodemon is strictly for development. So we're going to install it as a development dependency. I'll wait for that to run. And then the next step I'm going to take is I want to go to my package.json and add some, make sure I have a start script defined so I can use npm start to start my app. It's also pretty necessary if you're going to deploy your app. I'm also going to add a command to start the app using Nodemon in development. So I'm going to go to the package.json now and manually add those in. So I need to add a start script. I'm also going to adjust main here because my main is actually server.js, and then I'm going to add start and make that node server.js, and then I'm going to add the Nodemon script. So I'm going to say start:dev, and that will run Nodemon server.js, like so. So let's go ahead and test this out. I'm going to use my code formatter. If you're following along with me, I am using Visual Studio Code as my text editor, and a couple of extensions I really find helpful, I think you'll like them as well, is the Prettier Code Formatter extension, and that gives you automatic, pretty standardized formatting for JavaScript, CSS, HTML, Markdown, a bunch of file types, so it's very, very handy. It's very popular. The other extension I recommend using is Bracket Pair Colorizer, and that can just really help as far as what it does for you is it makes it easier to find the opening and closing bracket pairs that complement each other. So by using different colors to match them up. I highly recommend those two extensions. So back to our app, I formatted the code, and now I'm going to make sure everything works. I'm going to first run npm start and make sure that it works. It starts up my app. I'm going to hit Control-C to kill that process, and instead I'm going to do npm run start:dev, which is that other script I added to the package.json file, and that starts the app with Nodemon. And now I'm going to Control-click on this link here, or you can Command-click and see that we have our Hello World page up, which is perfect. It means our Node app is working. So I'm going to go ahead and open a new terminal by hitting the plus sign here back in the VS Code integrated terminal. And I'm going to go ahead and make a commit at this point. So git add -a, just grab everything, git commit initial express server says hello world. All right, there we go. There's our first commit, and I'm going to type exit to close out that terminal and go back to the one running Nodemon. Okay, so let's go ahead and add some static folders. I'm going to put all my pages in a folder named public. It's a fairly conventional name to hold your public static assets. And then inside public, I'm going to make a new file called index.html. It's going to be the home page for my app. And let's go ahead and build that out quickly. So we'll call this static demo. Give it an h1 of static demo home page. Let's say, give it a little boom, like so. Maybe add a p tag with some ipsum. Format all that. We're going to want some styling in this, so I'm going to go and add a separate style sheet. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. I'm going to keep all my style sheets in a folder named styles, and then in there we'll make common.css, and in common.css, or let's call it main core.css. Sure. If I were building a bigger site, this would be where I'd keep all the styles that I want to use across the majority or all the pages in my site. Let's go ahead and just give some basic styling here. So we'll say font size, going to be 16 pixels, and line height will be 1.5 em. So that's for root. And let's go ahead and style p tags just for the heck of it, and we'll make our font color, which is mental Blake out there, just color. Dark blue should be fine. And actually, I forgot, let's add a font family of, how about Arial, Helvetica, Sans Serif should work just fine for us. Okay, so make sure I link that up. If I go back here, that's going to be in, let's add a link for a style sheet. And you might be saying to yourself, oh, that's an easy one. Public styles core, right? Well, let's find out. Refresh the page. Oh, wait, nothing. How am I getting nothing? Oh, that's right. I'm still serving just hello world. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to need the path module, which is used for creating paths that are joined with the correct separator. So / for Mac Linux, / on Windows, etc. So we want to use the path module for creating our paths. So I'm going to require it. The path module is built in to Node. I'm just going to move this up to keep all my imports together. And then we're going to use the send file function of Express. So send file sends a single static file, and we want to serve the home page. So what I need to do, I want to make sure this is going to work on wherever I deploy it, whether I'm deploying on a Heroku, AWS, Google Cloud Platform, wherever I deploy it, I need an absolute path to my index.html file. And if I give the absolute path on my computer here, then it's not going to work when I deploy this on some other machine somewhere else, like on one of the platforms I mentioned. So what I need to do is use the global value in Node of __ dir name. And what that does is it provides the absolute path to this module, right, to server.js, which means on my computer it's going to give me the absolute path on this system, but if the app is running when I deploy it, it's going to give the absolute path to wherever the server.js file is stored on that computer for deployment. So we're going to join dir name, and then I'm going to give a comma and add the second segment of the path, which is going to be a relative path from where server.js is located on my system to index.html. So that's going to be a dot because it's in the same directory as server. And then I'm going to go into the public folder and then into index.html, like so. Format that, save, and now if I go back, we should see there it is. But wait, where's my blue font? Where is it? If I open up my terminal, you're going to see that I'm getting an error. Why is that? Why is that happening? If we look at my path, it says public styles core.css, right? Public styles core. Oh, public is wrong. So let's get rid of that. Surely that will fix it, right? Here's index, the relative path to styles core.css should work, right? Maybe that's the problem. So we refresh the page. Wait a second, still not working. What the heck is going on? What is the problem? Oh, there's a syntax problem. Well, let's fix that. Wait, still a problem. What's going on here? If I click that, I don't get any response. Well, there's no route to it. It doesn't matter where it is in the file system. When you're dealing with clients and servers, the server must provide routing to any and every asset that the client tries to access. So I have to go back here and add another route for that, right? I need another app.get. This one is for the path styles core CSS, so it needs to be styles core.css. And then I have to go down here and say ./public styles core.css. And now I have a route to it if we reload the page. Now we get some styles. See, the font's changed. I've got some blue font color on my p tag. It's working now, right? And every time, everything, if I want to load an image, if I want to add a JavaScript to the client, any file that that client needs to load, I have to go and make a route for it using Express. Well, obviously this is going to get tedious really fast. I mean, what if I have a big site with, 10, 15 pages and maybe a couple of CSS files and 50 or so images? That's a lot of routing to set up. Well, there's an easier way. That's where we can use the Express static middleware. So if you go to Express, there's even a guide on it for static files. It's just a quick getting started guide, but essentially we want to call app.use and pass it express.static and then give it the folder where all our static assets can be found. And what that does is it will then take any request and check and see if that request has a matching path within the folder we used. So in other words, if I send a request for /style/core.css, it's going to check and see if that path matches a file found in that folder. So I'm just going to copy this line of code. I'm going to slap it in before I add any of my routes because middleware runs in the order that you mount it to your app. So if you want middleware to work, it's got to come up top, although with static, probably doesn't really matter where I mount it. So now I'm going to match express.static and public, and now I can get rid of both of these because it turns out that if you have an index.html file in the folder you pass to static, it will match index.html to the root path. So I can actually get rid of both of these now and hit save, and Nodemon restarted my server for me. So if I go back and refresh the page, it still works. I still have my styles. I still have everything, right? If I inspect here, we can see in my head, I have my core CSS, and I can actually go to that link, copy that, and we can go there. And there's my CSS file. Pretty cool, right? Now I'm going to do one little enhancement here. Just like before, I'm going to give an absolute path to be on the safe side. So I'm going to say path.join, dir name, and then public. And just make sure that I didn't break anything. I'm going to reload the page, and great, everything is still working. And now it's much easier for me to add a new page. So I could go in and add another page. Let's go add a link to it first. So I can make a nav bar up here. We'll add a nav tag and say like a tag link. This will be for the home page. So we'll just do /home and then add another link. And this link can be for image. And I recommend when you're using the static middleware, a lot of the time it's more convenient to use root relative paths. So start all your paths with a slash. That's the guideline. That's not a rule, just a guideline. So I'm going to make a file called image.html. And I'm going to go ahead and add that image.html like so. And I'm just going to copy the home page, paste this in, and here we're going to say static demo image page. Let's give it a unicorn, and delete our p tag here and drop in an image. And I actually don't want a source set, but I'm going to put that in a folder named images, and then we're going to make an image called water.jpg and hook that up. And we'll say breaking wave as the description, and I'm not going to use a source set attribute. Now I just need to add a folder called images for that path. And I have a water image ready to go. And now I should have an image page. Let's copy this nav bar over to the home page to make sure I have it in both, which I do. Perfect, didn't even need to do that. So reloading, there's home. Oh no, I forgot to put text. Put image in there. Add some text for image. Reload, there we go, there's some text. Oh, cannot get image. So what happened here is my route is for image, but my file is an image.html. So I could fix that by either saying .html, or the Express static middleware allows you to pass several options. You can check those out in the documentation. If you click on this link here in the Express docs, and it tells you about all the options that you can use. What I'm going to use is the extension option, which can be an array of file extensions. So if I pass in .html and my route is /image, then it will say /image is good to match /image.html. So let's go do that. I'm going to go back to my static middleware here. So the first argument is this expression, path.join. So I'm going to add a second argument, and that's going to be our options object, and I'm going to give that an extensions parameter and an array with HTML, so that way it matches the HTML extension automatically. So now if I refresh the page, boom, I'm getting both pages now. And that is how you use the Express static middleware. Thank you for watching.